gonna do this. Sweet. Sorry.
This episode of the Lawn Care Business Success Podcast is brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial and one free audiobook of your choice, head on over to lawncarebusinesssuccess.com/audible. You're listening to the Lawn Care Business Success Podcast, the weekly show sharing proven methods and systems in marketing, equipment, and customer service, educational and motivational, to help make your lawn care business an overwhelming success. Now here's your host, Julio Tomei. Welcome, Lawn Care Nation, to another episode of the Lawn Care Business Success Podcast. I'm your host, Julio Tomei, and this is episode number 98, entitled Interview with Dan Albrecht from Village Lawn Service. Well, hello, everybody, and thanks again for joining me this week on another episode of the Lawn Care Business Success Podcast. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and downloading those episodes each and every week. I'm also very appreciative and thankful for the emails and questions and comments that have gone and come into the show. It's so cool to see that you guys are getting so much value from the episodes, and I'm like I say, very thankful for that. If you guys haven't already left a review for the podcast on iTunes, I would also really appreciate that as well. You can head on over to lawncarebusinesssuccess.com/reviews, and you can see and read some of the worldwide reviews there. I have them all sort of automatically aggregated there on that page. So when you leave a review, it automatically pops up on the page there. And there's also a link that you can click on that takes you to iTunes, and you can leave a review of yourself if you enjoy or get anything of value from these episodes. So this week's episode, I have Dan Albrecht from Village Lawn Service, as I indicated there at the top of the show. And I was really excited to have Dan on the show. I follow him on Instagram, and I have to say that this dude is crazy. And I say that not in a bad way. I say that with a lot of love and just, positivity back to him. He is the type of person that just exudes life, and is the type of person that, if life was a lemon, he'd be squeezing every single drop out of it. And if you guys follow him, you'll know what I'm saying. You'll get exactly what I'm trying to get at. If you don't follow him, I would absolutely recommend that you guys follow him on Instagram. If you're into Snapchat, he does a lot of Snapchat. And do that. And like I say, he's just a very positive guy. And you'll, as the interview goes on, you'll see why it is that he's a positive guy, and the challenges that he has had to overcome early on in life. It will just all make sense. But in a nutshell, he's absolutely the type of person that I would want to hang around with on a daily basis. So very, very cool guy. Very excited about this interview. So as always with the podcast interviews, I'll play the podcast announcements first, and then we'll get into the interview in its entirety right after this. So stay tuned. Hey guys, if you have any questions or comments about the show, I'd love to hear from you. You can head on over to lawncarebusinesssuccess.com/contact. And while you're there, why not join my mailing list and get access to a free PDF document of a landscape maintenance contract you can feel free to copy and use in your own business. For you Instagram users out there, be sure to follow me at Lawn Care Business Success. And if you haven't checked out my videos yet, well, what are you waiting for? Be sure to subscribe to the Lawn Care Business Success YouTube channel. Now, I know you guys love listening to audio while you work as much as I do, so I've partnered up with Audible to offer you guys a free 30-day trial and one free audiobook of your choice. There's no long-term commitments, and you can cancel anytime. And get this, even if you cancel during the trial period, you get to keep your free audiobook. It's a great way to try the service and see if Audible is right for you. So why not give it a try? Head on over to lawncarebusinesssuccess.com/Audible. Now back to the show. Okay, so I'd like to welcome Dan Albrecht to the show. Hey, Dan, how's it going?
It's another glorious day here in the great state of Minnesota.
I'd like to thank you for taking the time out and coming on to the Lawn Care Business Success Podcast. I really appreciate you taking that time. I know the spring season is crazy busy for everybody, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Worked some longer hours yesterday, and then we'll make up for it today, but that's all right,
Awesome. So I think we'll get right into the questions. So maybe tell us a bit about yourself and your business.
Okay, first, a little bit about myself is my name is Dan. I am 33 years old. I've been married for 10 years to a wonderful wife. I've got 3 amazing kids, 19 years cancer-free. And that's right, I did say it, 19 years cancer-free. When I was 14, 8th grader, I got diagnosed with leukemia, and I had a 1 in 98 chance of survival. That's right,
Wow.
1 in 98 chance.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. Battled that, beat that, like it was a little race or something. And then graduated high school on time with everybody else, even though I missed half a year. Went to college, but college wasn't my thing. I really wanted to enlist in the United States Marine Corps. Well, I watched a movie called, what is that called? Well, regardless, whatever the movie was, why can't I think of it? Shawshank Redemption.
Okay. Yeah.
So I watched the movie Shawshank Redemption. In the movie, the guy writes a letter once a week to get to his library. So I was like, hey, I'm going to send the Commandant of the Marine Corps a letter twice a week until I get my response. And then in my junior year at St. Cloud State, I got the response. I dropped out after the end of the semester, so I didn't go back, and I enlisted in the Marine Corps. Life goal, everybody said I couldn't do it, but bam, I did it.
You did. That's crazy. Now you had, I went to your website. I was doing some research. You told me to watch a video, which I did. And so as if cancer wasn't enough, you went over to Iraq. And tell us a bit about what happened there.
So I'm an infantry Marine, and like all good infantry Marines, we get to spend at least one summer or winter in a great sandbox of either Iraq or Afghanistan. So I got the pleasure to spend my spring break of 2007 and summer break of 2007 in the great city of Ramadi. Well, on a normal patrol one day, I hit a pressure plate. It's a two pieces of metal that was buried, and as soon as the metal touched, it blew up the whole front end of my truck. Almost killing me. I think if they put in another 10, 15 more pounds, yours truly would be dead or maimed worse than what happened. So what any good Marine does after he hits a roadside bomb and almost dies, he pulls out his camera, and you start filming it. So what's really funny is I put it on YouTube years ago, and then all of a sudden a buddy on Instagram was like, hey man, do you know who this is? And I looked at it and I go, oh, that is awesome. And I laughed so hard to watch the comments for everybody else. So what happened is I hit the roadside bomb. I'm sitting next to my truck, and I ask a really good buddy of mine, hey, can you find my sunglasses? I mean, they're Oakley M frames, and Oakleys are not cheap. So I asked him, I was like, hey, bro, can you find them, my sunglasses? He's like, yeah, sure. And the comments. So I guess if you follow me on Instagram at Village Lawn, message me, and I will send you the link, and you will laugh so hard because, 1, it is funny, and 2, I did find my sunglasses, which is even funnier, because they weren't completely destroyed, but the whole front end of the truck was gone.
Yes, and by truck, this is like military Humvee.
Yes, the whole Humvee truck where
it was like a banana.
Yeah. So it
was. You're sitting on the side, you're filming yourself, and your leg is broken.
Yep.
And you're like, my leg really hurts. Yeah, it hurts. I'm like, the dude just got blown up and he's filming himself. I'm like, that is crazy. Following you on Instagram and watching and then seeing that video and well, before watching that video, I was like, this dude's just crazy. He's like, he's got so much energy. I kept imagining you as like this beach ball that light comes out of. And it was like you can't contain this guy. It was like try to like imagine that beach ball like a miniature sun, and light is shining through it, and you can only use your body to contain the light of this beach ball. It's impossible. And I was like, this is what this guy is. He's so positive. He's got this so much energy. Like there's no containing him. And then when you see your story with the cancer and then blowing yourself up, it's like, okay, I get why this guy is so positive, because he has been to hell and back and has survived it. And he knows the true meaning and the true gift of what life really is. And it just put it all into perspective for me, especially the going to Iraq and being blown up. I was like, there's no way that I could ever do that. Even volunteer for something like that. There's no way. And, you know, you would think that somebody who survived cancer would not want to do something like that, because they've already been at that crossroads of, you know, looking death in the eye and being, why would you risk going somewhere or doing something like that and doing it again? But you did it.
I did. And then the thing is, you know, I was 13 when I was diagnosed with cancer. So, you know, as a young kid, you didn't know. And then all I wanted to do was be a Marine. And because if you look at like the Marine Corps, you know, they're the best dressed, they're the most feared, and they're the right now they're the greatest fraternity in the world. Where I'll talk to one Marine like we were old friends. It doesn't matter if they were World War II or they just got out of the boot camp. We all have like the same, you know, we share the same thing. And so I sit down and I talk to these guys, and you know, it's amazing. So, and then, and you never think of, hey, you know, what if I die, blah, blah, blah. Because if you always thought about that, you never leave your house.
Yeah.
You know, and you know what? We made Ramadi safe, and some kid tried to kill me, so I don't hold it against him. But, you know, whatever. I mean, it happens. I mean, and if you can't smile about it, and if you can't have a good time with even the crappiest days, then like in work, if you can't have fun every day, you should find something else. You know, the golden handcuffs hold people back from, I get great benefits working my 9-to-5 job, but I hate my life. Why? Why do you hate your life so much? And why don't you find a new job? Well, the benefits are so great. Are the benefits great? Where every morning you wake up and it's the worst day of your life? No. Yeah.
No, I always say, you know, when somebody will ask me, you know, your idle chit chat, you're meeting somebody or whatever, you see somebody every morning and they're like, hey, how's it going? Whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Every day I wake up is a good day.
Yes, that's true.
Regardless, because one day it's not going to happen.
That is true. You're not going to wake up and
it's over, right? So don't waste it. And I always think of, I think I even had a podcast episode about this, trying to be sort of a motivational piece, but it was about, you know, imagine your life and imagine everybody's life as a, what are they called? An hourglass.
Yes.
And from the moment you're born, that hourglass is flipped over. The only difference is you don't know how much sand is in it. And everybody walking around has this imaginary hourglass over their heads. So, you know, when you think about that, and I actually used to put a hourglass as the like lock screen on my phone so that I was reminded every time I turned on my phone, I would be looking at that hourglass.
Yeah.
And just reminding myself that, you know what, make every minute count. Yeah, it's just so important. And like you said, doing a job because of the benefits, but you hate it is it's a disservice to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine waking up every morning, especially like on Monday, waking up and be like, oh, I got a bad case of the Mondays.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday, you're like, oh, and then Friday, Friday afternoon is the best day. And then you have a weekend where you're just like, oh, hey, I got 2 days off and now I got to go back to that crap. No.
Yeah. I know. I did a post on Instagram a few weeks ago about the 9-to-5ers and saying, thank God it's Friday. And then the lawn care business owners saying, thank God it's Monday. Let me get back at it. Get back to the mowing the lawns and stuff. And yesterday I was actually thinking this too. I'd finished mowing for the day and, get home, have dinner, hang out with the family. And all I can think about is mowing lawns again the next day. And it's like, this is nuts. Like, it's crazy. I've been doing this for, going on 12 years now, and I still just want to go out and mow lawns.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great way we can work on our suntan. I mean, the two great benefits of, that I tell people to come work for my company is I'll get you all the working out you want to do and all the sun tanning you can take. I mean, even like yesterday, it was snowing yesterday, and today it is sunny, and I think we're going to get another big snowstorm on Sunday night. And I'm like, what? Why couldn't we get all this snow in the winter when we needed it?
Yeah. It is definitely messed up this year.
Yeah.
So let's get back into the lawn stuff.
Okay.
The next question I usually ask people, but it sounds like you've already kind of answered this, and it was, is your lawn care business your main income or your side hustle? So obviously it's your main income.
Yes.
And maybe tell us a little bit of because I know from watching that video and stuff that you have on your Village Lawn website that it was started by your dad.
No,
so maybe tell us a bit about.
So the company was started in '73 from a kid going to school at the University of St. Thomas in St. Paul, Minnesota. My dad bought it in '82. He was a farmer out in South Dakota. Well, he couldn't farm anymore. Interest rates, drought, whatever. So he comes from nowhere, South Dakota, to big city, St. Paul, and started the company. And then in 2009, when I got out of the Marine Corps, I never wanted to do lawn service. When I went to school, I wanted to be a high school history social studies teacher.
Oh, okay.
But what they don't tell you when you get out of the military is adjusting to civilian life is super hard. Like, just the whole crowds. Like, I was trained to kill and clean for 4 years. We went on 2 deployments, and, it was that constant, vigilance to whatever. So coming home was super hard. So I dropped out of school in 2009, called my dad up. I was like, hey, can I have a job? I know how to do it. It was fun. And then when my brother got out of the Marine Corps, we partnered up. My brother, wife, and I bought the company, and then we've been steadily growing it every year, trying to do the best work we can, attention to detail, having as most fun as we can. I mean, because if we can't have fun doing it, then I don't want to do it. If I can't, pretend to lay down in someone's yard and suntan for, like a few moments and take a few snaps, few photos of me just kind of laying down or, Snapchatting my way through the day or Instagramming my way through the day. And if I can't do that, I don't want to do it.
There you go. It definitely gives you a lot of freedom that you can, be able to do that stuff. I was actually watching or listening to a podcast yesterday. It was actually Mac Break Weekly about Macs and Apple and all that sort of stuff. And they were talking about the Apple Watch, and somebody saying, mentioning to one of them, they were at a restaurant, and the waiter said to them, he had an Apple Watch as well, and said that, he loved his Apple Watch because he could see his text messages and emails without the boss knowing, because they're not allowed to use their phone at work. And I was like, I can't imagine not being able to use my phone and Instagram and stuff while I'm working, because it's just so much fun to be able to snap photos and and checking
true.
Between lawns and seeing what people have commented and commenting back. And for me, I'm alone, so I'm working by myself. So it's kind of like my coworkers. Everybody on Instagram is like my coworkers when I'm out there, to be able to chat with them and stuff like that. So I get you on that sort of thing. Does your brother as well do a lot of the Snapchatting? And
no, he thinks it's and he's going to listen to this podcast, but he said from day one it was stupid. My wife also thinks kind of the same way, where what is Snapchat brought, or because Snapchat's for little kids, it's not so much anymore. Why are you doing this all the time? And I'm like, one, it's fun. Two, I can, help someone out. If someone watches my videos, it's like, hey, here's a tip. This is what you could do. I tried doing YouTube, but I am too busy, and I guess I don't care enough to try to make that next step to YouTube, where it's like, oh, hey, I would like to be as successful as Lawn Care Rookie or B&B or all these other guys. But I am so busy now that I don't know if I can do another 20 minutes. I mean, I did a few videos to this winter to promote some veteran-owned coffee company, or a veteran-owned coffee company called Counter-Strike Coffee Company. I would highly recommend them. They're amazing. But anyway, I shoot some sweet videos, but I'm like, I don't know who's going to watch this or what. I like doing pictures of, myself, of course, because, I like, every time I look in the mirror, I'm like, hey, who is that guy? And then I'm like, oh yeah. And then, I get a big smile on my face and get on with the day and stuff. So If I can make someone smile, or maybe get someone to be like, oh, okay, so when I aerate a yard, I could overseed in the spring and blah blah blah. Something short, sweet, to the point like that.
Yeah.
I'd like to help people out that way.
That's awesome.
but my brother was saying that this is stupid, because a lot of times I'd go like Facebook Live, Periscope, and all of a sudden him and one of my other employees would just stop what they're doing and kind of sit down. So I'm filming, hi, this is Dan Albrecht. And you see him in the background just sitting around. And I'm like, come on, guys, we're trying to promote our company, maybe getting, something else. But he's like, no, I'm going to do this every time, because we're siblings. We're siblings, and we can do that to each other. So.
Yeah. That's funny. So you guys, obviously you mentioned there that you have employees. Yep. So you're not a one-man show. How many, have you guys had a constant flow of employees, or has it been?
Well, we're up and down. We went through like 8 guys last year. This new generation coming up, other than some other guys that own small lawn services, these new generation of kids want to get paid like $30 an hour. Hey, I was like, hey, I want to get paid $30 an hour and do nothing, I would love that, but that's not going to happen. I'll start you off at a good wage, and then we'll work from there. And if you're picking it up within a week or 2 weeks, I could jump you a whole dollar, so let's say I start you out at 10, which I don't, but I'm not going to tell you what I start people out at. We'll just say 10. In a week or two, if you're doing really well, I'll jump you up to 11.
Yeah.
And if you're thriving in 3 or 4 months, you could be making like, we'll just say, another dollar and stuff like that. But these kids come in and they're like, yeah, I want to work. And all they do is they sit on the Facebook in the middle of a yard. And it drives me crazy. I mean, I'm doing it all day, but I'm trying to get business. Yes. And I tell them that. I'm like, unless you're marketing for my company, I don't want you on the phone. And one day for spring clean or fall cleanups, we stop for something and all the employees are standing around on their phones, and it drives me insane, but they're always on their phones, and it's just like, just do it in between, when we go in between places. Can't you do enough, but well, regardless, right now we have 5.
Okay.
6. We have 6 employees. We're looking to hire another one. A buddy of mine is a Marine, and he's like, hey, I've got a Marine buddy looking for work. And I was like, yes, I love hiring veterans. So if you're listening to this and you're like, who should I hire? I would highly recommend a veteran, and especially an infantry veteran. One, we get the work done. Two, we complain about it, but we'll get that work done. You know, I'll complain, like, if it's raining out, I'm like, oh, this is the worst thing ever, but the job will get done. And of our employees, you know, my brother's an infantry Marine. One of our crew foremen is infantry Marine, and me, I'm an infantry Marine. So, you know, half the company is Marines. So, and then you got my wife, where she's married to a Marine. So, you know, she's kind of like a Marine, kind of like a That's awesome. So this next question that I ask people, I love asking this question because it's a different answer from everybody that I ask it. Yet the general public, or the people that are like the 9-to-5 type job people, always think it's the same answer. And that is, how would you define success? I would define success in how well, you know, you do your job. Do you wake up and do you piss excellence, or do you wake up and just piss and moan? You know, you don't need 5-8 trucks going around. I know the whole theory of like, hey, we could have 8 crews, 15 crews. That sounds great. But if you're a one-man person listening to this and you wake up and you can pay your bills and you can make yards look great and you can get a suntan during the summer, what? I mean, that's success right there, where you're your own boss and you wake up and you're like, you know what? I'm going to get these 20 places done today, and they're going to all look amazing, and then I'm going to go home and not worry about anything else. That's success. If you can wake up and just be like, I can do this. So if you're listening to this, and I hope people do this, because I'll do this when I listen to myself again, just scream, just be like, I can do this. Woo! Because if you're not excited about what you do right now, find something else. I mean, lawns might not be your thing. You know, you're doing lawns right now to kind of pay the bills until you find that next thing. Well, sell off your stuff. Everything is worth something. Yeah. Like, if you find someone like me and you come up and you be like, hey, Dan, I want to sell you my stuff. I will buy it from you. I'll buy your equipment, your routes, whatever. You know, just do something you love, where you wake up and you just want to shout, woo! That is success. Success is when you wake up and you're just so motivated. Even yesterday when it was snowing, I was like, oh, but you know what today is? Today is Freedom Friday. Actually, every day is Freedom Day, but Freedom Friday, I've got these sweet American flag sunglasses. I've got my American flag on my flagpole with my Marine Corps flag. So, you know, it's just like, woo!
So that actually brings me. So how did you come up with this whole Freedom Friday thing? Is it something that you saw somewhere else, or did you come up with it on your own?
No, I probably somewhere else. But my wife, I love sunglasses. So if you're listening to this and you have sunglasses, I love sunglasses. I love all different sizes. In my truck right now, I have 8 different pair of sunglasses, and I'd like to get more. I'd like to get the spectacles from Snapchat.
Yeah.
I would like to get as many sunglasses. So if you're at a parade, and they give you free sunglasses, and you want to send them my way, that would be awesome. I would totally rock them. But regardless, I've got these American flag sunglasses, like aviators, and my wife found them at Target. And I was like, these are amazing. So I just started wearing them every day. And then I'm like, I'm wearing them on Friday. So Friday, Freedom Friday. And then some other people were doing that. So every Friday, I'll wear my American flag sunglasses. And I will just be like, this is the greatest. Actually, every day is the greatest day ever. But it's Freedom Friday. And hopefully somebody else will get as motivated as I am. And, send me their flag pics. They're, like in Canada. Send me your flag. I'll repost any flags. If you're excited about the freedom you have in any country, I will retweet, snap, repost any flag pictures, because it is Freedom Friday.
Awesome. Fantastic. Now you're really helping to prove my point of you being this ball of sunshine that you can't contain. That you can't contain. So hopefully the listeners are getting this nice mental picture in their mind of who Dan really is.
Yeah, hopefully they're like, woo! And they're listening at work, because I know I've listened to this, and some of the guys do the 9 to 5 thing, and then they go mow lawns, which is awesome. And maybe they're sitting in their cubicle going, man, I really hate my woo! And they're like, woo! And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, sorry.
I'm going to have to put a disclaimer at the beginning of this podcast.
You shouldn't. It just, hopefully someone, please message him to see if you do the woo! Because if you do, that will make my day, and that will be just amazing.
This podcast should be listened to at a slightly lower volume. For your own safety.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So in your village lawn service, do you guys offer any services that are not lawn care and landscaping related, like power washing, window cleaning, that sort of thing, for example?
No. We just started the last few years doing fertilizer.
Okay.
And we started our own organic fertilizer company.
Awesome.
That my dad knows the owner of the company that started it, and my dad goes, you know what? I'm sick of all these chemicals. I mean, all these big companies will come out and be like, hey, we can put this on and insta-fix. Well, steroids, hey, if you want to go to the gym, take some steroids. That's an insta-fix. Soon you'll be huge. But what people don't understand is, yeah, that looks great now, but what's it doing to the soil? Our organic fertilizer helps recondition the soil. So if you want to get in shape, you go for a run, not take steroids.
Yes.
You eat healthy. This is what it does. It makes your yard healthy. Granted, it's taken my yard 3-4 years to be almost weed free. I'm looking at my yard right now, and there's no dandelions. And here's a quick tip. You want to get rid of dandelions? Calcium. Bags of calcium. Dandelions like calcium, and they won't dig down deep. They'll just kind of kill themselves off at the top.
Yeah.
And calcium is safe for your kids, because a lot of these chemical fertilizers, what people don't understand is it stays in the soil. So if you have kids or dogs that like to frolic in the grass, or people like me that are in the grass all the time, that's not good for you. So,
yes, absolutely.
So we're starting this organic fertilizer company, and hopefully we can start selling more bags online. And if you own a lawn service company, hit me up. I'll send you out 4 pounds of fertilizer for free to try it out. And if you like it, let me know. If you hate it, whatever. It's completely edible. It's one of the number one recommended by dogs. If it's not watered in right away, the dogs will eat it. And if your dogs eat it, it's a natural dewormer, and it tells you that the dog needs something else in their diet. Like their dog food is not good, and everybody's got dogs, or everybody has kids, and everybody wants to be like, oh, hey, you know what? I want to do this. But no, we do the basically lawn. Fertilizing. We do light landscaping. Like if you want mulch, I can do mulch. If you want a backyard patio, I am not that guy. I will sit on your backyard patio, but our bread and butter is weekly lawn mowing.
Yep.
And then we do some aeration, overseeding, the simple stuff like that.
Yeah. No, that's totally cool. That's mainly what my business is as well. Yeah. And the aeration, that brings me a good point as well for dandelion control and broadleaf weed control, is that those types of weeds will also prefer compacted soil.
Yes.
So aerating regularly is a sell I do with my clients. That aerating regularly will help minimize those broadleaf weeds, because they just don't like those conditions of a lawn that's constantly aerated. And your points on organic fertilizer remind me. I do put organic fertilizer on my lawn, and my dog is right behind me eating if I'm putting like alfalfa or something down, he's there eating half of it and, and going at it. So it's pretty funny.
And anybody listening to this, you just learned several key tips. Look at this. You learned and you learned. You're welcome.
Yeah, there you go. And actually, it's funny. The one of the sales sort of techniques, I wouldn't say techniques, but one of the things, the sales pitches that I use with my clients when I talk about organic fertilizer is I tell them exactly what you said, which is kind of funny. I say that synthetic fertilizer is basically like crack for your lawn.
We all love crack, right?
Yeah. and the results are about the same once you stop putting that crack down. That the lawn will crash and it reverts very quickly to having issues. And I say, you know what? You go to a forest and there's those trees and they're 150 feet tall and there's nobody putting synthetic fertilizer. It's all the soil and the soil system, the decaying of the needles and the leaves and everything in the ground, feeding that soil, the biology in the soil that are helping to get those trees what they need, and to get them to go, in those things. And it sort of, not exactly the same sort of scenario, but it paints that picture for the client to understand that, okay, yeah, I get it, that it
takes time.
Yeah, it takes absolutely time. And what you're saying about 4 years is actually funny because that's what I tell clients too, that, I can put synthetic fertilizer down and that's why it's popular amongst people, because it gets them those instant results, but it's not doing anything for your lawn and for the health of your lawn.
That's true.
And if you want to convert it, it can be done, but you have to be patient because it'll take about 3 or 4 years before you start seeing the same results. Once it's there, then it's instant. As soon as you put the fertilizer down and all that stuff, you're getting the same results, but it just takes that time to get to that point.
Yeah.
And to leach out all the crap that's been put down for years and years and years.
Yeah.
So very good points. And like I said, there's a lot of good points there for people to pick off of and learn. Go ahead.
Really quick, during the winter, we do snow removal. So this last 2 or 3 years, we've done a lot of couch sitting, because it hasn't snowed much here in the great state of Minnesota. And when they say a big storm is coming, and I'm using air quotes, it always seems to miss us. Hits north of the cities or south of the cities. So I'm like, come on, are you just? That's basically what I say. Come on, because.
That's funny. And here I am sitting in Canada and everybody thinks we're like living in igloos and stuff. And where I am, at least on the West Coast, we never get snow. It's like very rare. We might get one day a year and it's like it's raining before it even hits the ground. So I don't invest in major snow equipment stuff. I do have a snowblower that I got 1 year when it was really bad. And then it sits around for 8 years doing nothing. And then this year we got absolutely hammered. And the last time, I used the snowblower, I didn't put it away properly, so it was all gummed up, and I couldn't get it started this year. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Finally getting all this snow, and I can't get this thing started. And the cord broke, and I was like, no! Yeah, it was just crazy.
Then you get your shovel out, and a lot of times this year, the snow was so heavy that you do more work if you snowblowed. So I was shoveling, and we've got miles and miles of sidewalks, because each one of our places has a lot of sidewalks. So I'm out shoveling the sidewalks, getting fit, and then I sit around for like 2 weeks, and then I go out and I, shovel that 4, 5, 6 inches, and then sit around. And I'm like, come on, just give me some weekly snows so I can, get my business going. So, we're not hurting for cash in the springtime.
Yeah, there you go. It's funny how it works. You have to be very adaptable.
Yeah.
Because it's like I say, you never know. Every day is an adventure when you own your own business. So what type of work do you guys prefer? Is it commercial, residential? Why?
I like both. And I've been listening to your podcast, and commercial is great moneymaker during the winter. But we had one account, and they called up, and we've been taking care of them for 10 years. They called up and they're like, we need to cancel your contract because we're having 3 companies take care of all of our units. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I can't keep this one for the rest of the year, and then you guys can nope. And I was like, what? And the whole corporate bureaucracy, and then how guys can do a lot of the commercial places for like little to nothing. And I'm like, come on, we do a good job. And, but I like residential places because some of the clients are super cool. Some that are not, we kind of phase out, because I don't need to deal with just anybody. I like dealing with people that are cool, people that can joke around, or, just people that don't complain because one blade of grass was longer than the rest. It's just like, come on, go out and just cut that one blade of grass down.
Yeah. I find that with those types of say HOAs or like townhome type things, that they seem very, very picky. I'm not sure what it is. Like, you get a regular, I think it's, I honestly think, actually thinking about it right now, that it probably comes down to the relationship. And when you're servicing an individual home, you tend to build a relationship with that person, and you see that person, you talk to that person. So when there's things that might get missed, or that one blade of grass, like for me, when I mow, I have to mow in the rain, because it's constant. That's what we get here is rain, rain, rain. So there is no rain delays or rain days for us. We just mow in the rain, and you do the best you can. But if it's really, really heavy or wet, the wheels will tend to fold the grass down, and then it's harder for the suction to lift it back up when you're going through the next pass.
Yes.
So sometimes you'll get an area where the wheels laid the grass down and it didn't get cut properly. But by building that relationship, people understand that and they go. But if it's a townhome and stuff, and you don't have that relationship with those people, it's very corporate feeling. Like you're just a number, you're just a thing, this is what needs to get done, and they didn't do it this week, and blah blah blah, and people just nitpicking and getting on the the board and complaining about this and that, and it just seems very high strung and stressful.
It is. And we'll fire clients. We'll be like like Donald Trump used to do, hey, you're fired.
Yeah.
If someone's stressing me out, so if you're listening to this and someone's just stressing you out, have them find someone else. I don't need that stress in my life. Yeah. Okay. So I'm out, X amount of dollars, but then I don't have to worry about this person,
Mm-hmm.
The townhomes, some guys are doing these 500 units. That's like 1,000 people that could complain. I mean, our townhome units are fairly small. And so, you get more people to complain, but I think people just like to complain.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's like, oh, I just need to complain so you actually talk to me. And I'm like, how about we just actually talk instead of you complaining? Because, I'll hit up a conversation with you, no problem.
Yeah. It's amazing the amount of drama that people will bring up in their lives.
Yes.
With stuff like that. And it's like, I'm not sure if it's trying to create a distraction because they're maybe working at a job that they don't like or stuff like that. And this is a way to get out of that reality and vent for a moment or whatever it is. But it's crazy the amount of times people complain, and you see all these like road rage issues and things like that. And it's like, just chill out, relax.
Yeah. Relax, brah. You just relax. Relax.
Relax. So, what is your favorite thing about being self-employed?
My favorite thing about being self-employed is the harder I work, the more money I can make. And since my business partners are my wife and my brother, I've come up with some sweet ideas that I think are amazing and that they kind of shoot me down at. And, well, that's fine. And I like the, being a business partners with them because then they kind of keep me like down on my feet instead of trying to be like, oh, hey, let's go do this, or hey, let's go blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, no, we can't. But also the harder I work, the more money I can make. The more money I make, the better. Not the better everything is, because more money, more problems. But, it's, when I get done with a yard, I know I did a good job, and, that money is going to me. It's not going to some, you were in a franchise, so part of that money is going to a franchise. The money's going to my bank account, or not the company's bank account, which in turn can, pays my salary and could pay for, any equipment or trucks, or pays for, basically pays for my livelihood.
Yes, absolutely. Some very good points there. I thought for sure you'd sneak in freedom in there somewhere.
Freedom! Oh, yeah. Well, you're right. Oh, man, because I'm sitting in the office. It's in the basement of my house, and I'm looking at my truck with my trailer, and we're out aerating today. I was out this morning, and then I'm going to go right when we're done. But it's just the fact I can, I can set my schedule. I can, get as much or as little done today. And then at the end of the week, if I don't do as much, then I don't get paid as much. So
yes. Yeah, absolutely. You're in control of your own destiny. And there's no, there's no excuses. You can't look yourself in the mirror and blame anybody else.
That's true.
If things aren't going how you planned it, because you're in control. There's no, no excuses, like I say. And that actually leads me to, or reminds me, you mentioned the firing a customer and doing like Donald Trump would say on The Apprentice, saying you're fired. And one of the things I used to love about watching The Apprentice, and I think I mentioned this in an early podcast with when Donald Trump was on it, was he would sit there in the boardroom and he'd come down to like the last person or last two people, and he'd ask them, so why do you think, the task didn't go the way you thought, or, what went wrong? And he would just sit there and listen to them talk about all the reasons why it didn't work. And he would let them finish, and he would say, I hate excuses. You're fired. And it was just like, because you're in control of it. You could have done something different. Don't blame other people.
No, and
take the responsibility and figure it out.
Yeah. And it's like, if your business is not succeeding, there's something, you are doing. And it's not my fault because my business is succeeding and yours isn't. I look at the bigger companies and I'm like, that would be cool to have 50 trucks. Mm-hmm. But I already know how labor is, and everybody else can contest. Labor is super difficult. So I don't want those 50 trucks. It's hard enough with my few trucks that we do have, but it's not my fault your business is failing. You could always call me up and I might have extra leads for you. I called one guy up. I saw him driving on the highway. I called him up. I was like, hey, my name is Dan. We're getting full for our mowing season. Would you like any of the referrals I get? And he's like, no, I don't need any of your referrals. I was like, all right, bro. That's fine. If you don't want them, that's fine. But I'm glad to give them to you for free. I don't want anything out of it. I want you to do a good job. I want, your business to succeed. And then if you succeed, then buy me a cup of coffee in the winter time or something.
Yeah. No, good point. And it's love to see that you're giving back there. That's fantastic. A lot of people, I always tell people to, like, don't be afraid of your competition. Wave, say hi to them, talk to them. You know, just having conversations, try to meet up for coffee, things like that. There's so much work. If you open your eyes to it, there's so much work that, like I always say to myself, I can't possibly, even if I wanted to do as much as I could, I still wouldn't be able to service every house that is possibly available. There's just so much.
That's true.
Right? So why, just talk to other things. And I do. I pull over and I'll talk to, there's guys now that I know on a regular basis that we're in the same neighborhoods and stuff like that. And I'll pull over and we'll chat for a few minutes and stuff like that every week and go on our days.
The nice thing about that is I've got friends in St. Paul that I won't even touch yards. If someone comes up to me and is like, hey, can you bid on my yard? I'm like, I can't. I can't touch your yard because these guys take care of it. But then there's other companies that take care of the yards, and I'll be like, sure, yeah, I will. I don't know, they're one of the big companies, or I don't know them. So yeah, I will do that. But I like having, knowing people in the industry, like in my area, where if I'm like, hey, I can't take care of you, but this guy can, or this girl can, or this person can. I like that.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So this next question, again, is one that I always like asking because it's is a different answer for everybody, and it's the one that basically is the reason why I give podcast guests the questions in advance, and it's basically because of this one question, because it's the one. The rest of them are pretty straightforward, but this is the one where I like to give people sort of a heads up, and that is, share a time with us that you struggled in your business, and what did you learn or do to overcome it?
Well, so we're starting our organic fertilizer company. We're bagging it up in 2-pound bags, and they had a home and garden show at the Minneapolis Convention Center. It was about $10,000 in product. To get the booth, to get everything in. So that's a lot of money for, company that doesn't have it. These big companies that, we'll say like Target. Target's a big company where $10,000 to them is like $20 to me, right?
Yeah.
Or $1 to me,
Yeah.
So it's a lot of money, and we failed. We failed hardcore on it, and we weren't at that point to launch the company yet. So I found that I've worked harder to try to get to that point. That, or like in the springtime when contracts are coming in and, you're expecting 150 and only 80 come in, you start stressing out. You're like, oh no, I've got not just my family, my brother's family, and I've got my other 2 employees' families to take care of.
Yeah.
So now it's not just me, it's everybody else I got to take care of. And then I'm like, oh man, so then I start stressing out about that. But then I just start calling people, and a lot of times people are like, oh, I just forgot. And I'm like, okay. Some people are just like, nope, we're done. We're going to go somewhere else. And I'm like, hey, that's fine. Thank you. But the whole like stressful springtime.
Yeah.
Winter's not a problem. All it has to do is snow one time, and we fill up our routes. Some people are like, okay, and they wait till the last minute, and then once it snows in November, sometimes, December, whenever it snows, and it's always a big one the first time, it seems like, we fill up our stuff there. So I don't stress about that. I stress about the springtime.
Okay, yeah.
And so yeah, for like when we did the home and garden show, we're going to redo everything. We're launching a new company name, a subsidiary of Village Lawn Service. It's going to do just the organic fertilizer where you can buy it online. Okay. I'm trying to think of that next level, because I'm not always going to be this 33-year-old that can, hopefully I can run around all the time, but at the end of the day, my body's kind of sore. When I was 21, when I was 21 in the Marine Corps, I could lay down on a rock and sleep. And now I just think about it, my back hurts. So, everybody knows the older you get, the less rocks you can sleep on. So
yeah. I always tell my wife, being Canada, hockey is like the big sport here. I always joke around that, man, now I know why all the hockey players retire at my age. Yeah. I just can't do it anymore. It's like, it's crazy. Thinking about that. That's too funny. I haven't, slept on a rock, so that I can't even imagine.
Oh, it's, when you get tired, or, infantry life, we always spent time out in the field, shooting stuff or shooting at stuff or whatever. So, you get tired and you're like, hey, here's a rock. And literally you could sleep on a rock. And it's really funny. And now I just think about it, and, my lower back or my whole back and my neck just start to hurt. And I'm like, geez, I can't believe I could do that.
That's funny. I just had this picture in my mind of you. You were talking earlier about hiring infantry veterans and stuff and telling people. And I can just imagine you with some other veterans sort of walking in a straight formation down the side of a house with weed whackers and mowers, doing like the hand signals and stuff, and then opening the gate and like, go, go, go.
We were going to do that. We were joking about that, because we all cleared houses since all three of us were infantry guys. We cleared houses in, Ramadi and Afghanistan. And so we were going to do that to a yard and kind of film it. And we laughed so hard because, it's like we use our lingo. What's your ETA? Estimate time of arrival. Yeah. Hey, what's your ETA? Oh, 30 mics. That's 30 minutes,
Okay.
Just something nice and easy like that. And some of our other jargon that we use and stuff. And so we all understand it. And some other people are like, ETA, what?
Yeah.
What time are you going to be here, bro? Okay, thank you. But yeah, we were going to do something like that where we're assaulting a yard and cutting it. And yeah.
That would be a great marketing piece.
It would be a great marketing piece because, we're veteran-owned, woman-owned, disabled veteran-owned companies. So, we just got all the things, and then we'll throw it on a video, and hopefully somebody else will watch it and laugh as much as we do, and maybe
awesome.
want to hire us.
So that actually brings me to the next question. In what ways do you guys market your business, and maybe share your number one marketing tip?
The way we market our company is we've got the website.
Yeah.
And I just recently this year had a company, paid a company to kind of redo it, update it, all that. And everybody's like, you get those calls, hey, be first on Google, be first on Google.
Yeah.
I don't care to be first on Google.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm third, fourth, if, some people don't find me, that's fine. Most of my jobs are word of mouth. This year, I'd highly recommend. A lot of our clients don't know all the services we do.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, hey, I could have fertilized, or hey, I could have brought in mulch. And they're like, oh, I didn't know you did that. So with our contract we sent out this year, we did a list of all of our services, or a lot of our services we wanted to offer on the back. And with that, we got about 20, 30 places on top of all of our normal stuff. So we got extra work out of it. So that would be a great thing. I'm on Instagram, Twitter. I was on Vine, but Vine's no longer. Here, let me pull up my phone and I'll tell you. We're on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Periscope, Marco Polo, Facebook, Google+, Yelp. Just Yelp is easy. If you're not on Yelp, you should be on Yelp. Yelp doesn't cost you anything. They want you to hey, for $100 a month, no, just do the free thing.
Yeah.
Put some photos up there, and I just got 2 jobs yesterday because of Yelp. I was like, hey, how'd you find me? Yelp. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
We don't pay for, any like Google AdWords or anything like that because, we're almost full now, and if I paid for that, I don't have the employees to take that next step.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. Yelp is one that I use too, and I like the little sort of reports that they send you saying how many people viewed your profile and how many people called from your thing and all that sort of stuff is very, very cool. So some great tips there for people to do. I'm pretty much the same. I've never, I can't say I've never paid for advertising. I did when I was with the franchise. Their whole strategy is doing small classified ads in the back of like every single community newspaper type thing. Yeah. So when I branched out and did my own brand and left the franchise and all that sort of stuff, I started with that, and got like one call after spending hundreds of dollars, for a few months. And the one call was just a quote, and it never ended up going anywhere. They didn't hire me. They didn't thing. And I was like, this is like crazy, because I'm getting all these other calls every day from just having a website that people are finding on Google.
Yeah.
Or just having Yelp. And that's not costing me anything. And I'm getting, and then the person, they kept calling me over and over again to renew my ad. And I had to finally say, listen, I was paying you guys this, $100 every couple weeks or whatever it was for this small little tiny ad that nobody's reading, that, I got one call the whole time, the whole campaign. And yet I'm getting 5 calls a day just having a website listed on Google, and it's not costing me anything.
Yes.
So why am I going to spend, it's like, it makes no sense to me.
And it's like those, the lead generation things. I can't think of it. Home Advisor.
Yeah.
If you're just starting out, Home Advisor might be a good thing, but it's super expensive. It costs you $8 for that lead.
Yeah.
Well, the guy could just be shopping around or girl, the person be shopping around for yard work. Well, what? $8, and then you get like 10 in one day. That's $80 that, you won't get. Or Angie's List. We tried Angie's List for a year, and one thing is, if you paid money for like Angie's List and you made your money back, do it again. Mm-hmm. If whatever you're doing is making you money, like the BBB. We're on the BBB, and every year we seem to make our money back from the BBB. We do Trust Vets. And just talking to one guy, I've made the money back. So I'm like, I'm going to do it again. If it works, do it. I mean, try it. People are like, oh, don't do this. Oh, I did it. But, my brother doesn't like how I do all the, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchatting. But look, I'm on a podcast now, so he should, some people won't change and stuff. So I hope I am that guy that helps change someone's life or point of view, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And some great points there as well. So, one of the most common questions that I get in my business is, what do I do in the winter? So it sounds like there's a winter or off season in your business as well. So what do you guys do in the winter? And if it's not work related, it can be a hobby or whatever.
So I try to play some pickup hockey.
Okay.
I'm more active in my children's, like I go to their school. I try to do that, more times than not. We get to rest our bodies. We do snow plowing and salting. We try to, get ready for the next season. So then when we hit the ground running or sprinting, it's an easier sprint than, not knowing what's going on. We do snow removal, but it's, you don't know if we're like next year, are we going to get 10 inches of snow or are we going to get 90 inches of snow?
Yes.
So I don't know. I know for lawns, I can take on, we'll just say 150 places, and I can take care of them in a week. I bet I could take care of them myself in a week, 150, because I think one year we had 6 employees and 4 of them didn't show up. So it was my brother and I. So we had to take care of 65 places ourselves in one day. And it was just, I was like, I woke up that morning and, because I don't know who's going to show up, but I woke up and I'm like, yeah, challenge accepted. So we busted out these places, and we worked till 7:00 at night, but we got all 60 places done, and we're just like, yeah, in your face. If we had to do it, we'd do it. We'd cry a little, maybe cry a little more or something. Be like, why? But it was, I guess that's another failure for business. You don't know, like when I get to my shop every morning, I don't know who's going to show up.
Yeah.
I don't know who's decided today's the day they're going to be like, you know what, I'm done. I don't need to tell them whatever, so that's really stressful for us is, are we going to hire you? Are you going to show up? Are you not? Whatever. But we scale it so, our company, my brother and I could take care of everything in a week. And I don't want to be cutting 150 places myself in a week, but I could do it,
Yeah.
And I kind of, now thinking about that, I kind of really want to do it. Be like, hey, man, let me try. Let me
Challenge
try.
accepted.
Challenge accepted. Woo!
There you go. So it sounds like Keith has next week off then.
Yeah. He's going to be like, all right, sweet. I can see him going like, yeah, okay. Let's see that, because we challenge each other. It's like a sibling rivalry. We see who's better.
Yeah.
I'm better at some things. He's better at other things. But I like the challenge that we have. And then my wife is like, kind of like the core. It's like, hey, you guys need to calm down. But this is.
What's it that brings me? I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot here because this wasn't a question that you'd be expecting.
Sure.
But what's it like working with your brother?
Oh, I love it and hate it all at the same time. I love it because, it's my brother, and hate it because sometimes it's just like, oh, I hate you. And then it's like a yelling, screaming match. And then, like 5 minutes later, it's like, hey, man, how's everything going? Okay, yeah, that's great.
Did you guys, growing up, do any crazy things to each other? Like, I'm thinking between me and my older brother, we used to, when my parents weren't home, very 70s type thing. Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with Carpet Runner, that like vinyl, like from the 70s, it looked like a sidewalk.
Yes.
So you wouldn't walk on the carpet, you'd walk on this vinyl runner.
Yes.
And it had these little spikes on the bottom to hold it in place on the carpet so it wouldn't slide and hurt yourself. We used to take a section of this when my parents were home, flip it upside down so the spikes were up, and then have a full-out wrestling match trying to pin the other person to the spikes.
Oh, funny. Well, so my brother and I really didn't get close till I went to college, and then we started hanging out quite a bit. And then we were stationed together in the Marine Corps, and there was one time we were home on leave where we started wrestling up on my parents' carpet. Well, there was blood flowing from, I think, both of us. We ripped open something because we were wrestling up on our carpet, and so there's blood, and we're like, hey, we know how to clean this, so we got some bleach. It was gray carpet. We got some bleach. Well, there was a spot up there where the blood was now clean, so it was like a white spot on gray carpet. It was hilarious. But yeah, we've been really close. Especially when I went off to college, we hated each other growing up because siblings do that. But then the older we got, the closer we got, and then he stayed in for another few more years, and I got out after my 4. And I was like, hey, you should get out. We should partner. We could grow this company. And he's like, yeah. And then, we got my wife doing all the book work, and, she's like, oh, hey, this, and this kind of, like almost the brains of the operation for the back end, because I hate doing office work. Mm-hmm. Like just sitting here now, looking outside, I'd rather be outside, sitting here, doing this interview than sitting in here. I don't know how people do the office work. I don't care if yesterday was 32 degrees. What's that in Celsius? Freezing. Okay, I don't care if it was freezing or not. I'd rather be outside because those days that it's super nice, I get to be out there and everybody else is in their office like, oh, look at it. It looks somewhat nice out. But yeah, I'm like, I don't care. Yeah, so. Yeah,
isn't it you just get moments when you're out there. Like yesterday, I did a new lawn, a new client lawn, and there was this just massive cedar. I think it might have been even Western red cedar tree in their backyard. It was just massive. And this couple lives alone. It's just the husband and wife. And I was looking at this tree. I had to actually mow under it and stuff, and looking at the branches. And I was like, wow, like if there was kids that lived in this house, this tree would be such an epic adventure every day to climb these branches up. And just walking from the sunny part of the yard under the tree into the shade, pushing the lawnmower, I was like, this is like, how lucky am I to be out here mowing this lawn under this beautiful tree and just
thinking about thinking about climbing in the tree and just being a kid again. See, that's the best part of the job is, you know, you get to be outside and then think about if you're a kid.
Yeah. So, let me see here.
You gotta ask my favorite equipment. I was thinking about this.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just gonna. So the question is, what is your favorite piece of equipment? My answer is. So the answer is I have two. One is our 1996 Mitsubishi Fuso. It's a cab over truck.
Okay.
That is the workhorse of the company. We put a dump box on there. We put high sides during the fall and spring, and that thing will pull anything. It won't, beat any of these new diesel trucks in a race.
Yep.
But that Mitsubishi diesel is... Oh, I love it. Like, we've got holes in the floors. The radio doesn't really work anymore. The heat doesn't work. The AC, that never had AC, but it's a 96. It's 21 years old. I was joking about getting collector plates on it because it's so old. But it runs. If you ever can think of a cab over truck, I would highly recommend it.
Okay.
Because this truck is amazing. And then, so the second piece of equipment is, so we run all Skag, the bigger mowers are all Skags. It is my 36-inch Skag mower. I love it so much that we replaced the engine on it, because usually up to 2,000 hours, after 2,000 hours on a mower, you start nickeling, diming, where it's cheaper to buy a new one than to, keep throwing money in there. But I love this mower so much that we just got her a new engine. I was like, I just need the new engine, and the whole mower is fine. So that's my two brilliant pieces of equipment.
Brilliant pieces of equipment. That's awesome. Actually, cab over trucks, I've always thought, yesterday, it's an interesting dynamic in the neighborhoods that I work at. I've talked about on the podcast how they're getting new developments are becoming tighter and tighter, with more and more houses being built in smaller square footages, and just these neighborhoods getting so compact, and so many neighborhoods where you can't park on one side of the street, just the other side, because then cars can't get through. So they'll build these neighborhoods, then they come along and put no parking signs everywhere. And for me, like, yesterday was another day that I was just like getting a bit frustrated because I couldn't find parking for my truck and trailer.
Yeah.
House after house after house. And I had to keep backtracking to houses later on in the day to see if there was parking yet. Or I was stuck parking down the street and having to walk the trimmer and then going back to get the mower and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, man, this is like, I'd almost be better off now going to a single vehicle, like no trailer, and that sort of thing, something tiny. And I was thinking those little cab over Japanese Kai trucks, those like really mini with the little fold down sides. I was like, that would, because I don't have big mowers anymore. All these properties, when these houses that get sold, property values here in Canada, particularly on the West Coast, are just insane, the prices. So when a house with a large property gets sold, regardless if it's a nice house or in good condition, they'll tear it down and build like 3 houses in its way because the property is just so valuable.
Yes.
So I'm like, I don't need these big mowers anymore. So I'm mowing everything now with like a 21-inch mower. And sometimes I have an issue even getting a 21-inch mower into the backyard because it's so tight, getting around everything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, a little Japanese, one of those little Kai trucks, if they still made those,
they
could squeeze into like anywhere, right? Any little parking spot I'd be able to get into, or even pull into the people's driveways and stuff.
There's a company that makes the cab over trucks, and behind the cab, they have something to put all your debris in, and then they have the box truck that you can run all your equipment up into. Okay. So that alleviates the whole trailer. Yeah. Which we've been looking into getting. It's just we haven't pulled the trigger on it. But that, then you don't have to worry about that 10, 15, 20-foot trailer, however long your trailer is. So you can just park it run the ramps down, and then, go on to your next place. So
yeah, it's funny how I was thinking about that yesterday. And like I said, these neighborhoods, the houses are like 3 stories. And because properties are so expensive, people will rent out the basements. So like every house has renters with their own cars trying to fight for parking spots. And then here I come with this big crew cab diesel truck and a trailer behind it trying to find parking to mow a lawn, and I'm only using a 21-inch mower. It's like, yeah, something's not working here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to figure out a way to compact things so I'm not stressing myself out. So what are your future plans or goals for the business?
The future plans, we've been trying to buy a shop, but every time we go to bid on a shop, a city or someone else outbids us, or the city comes in. And let's say the shop is 200. The city's like, "Yep, I'll pay you 200." When we could have gotten it for, let's say, 175. We're come on. So we're looking for a shop, and we're looking to grow the organic part of the company.
Okay. Yeah.
Because eventually we can start selling more of our fertilizer and do less manual labor. So we could cut back on all the lawns we have to mow. Instead of, we'll say 150, we'll go to 75.
Yeah.
So we do less work there, and then hopefully, that's the goals. I'd like to find those sweet commercial accounts, but I'm not willing to do work for nothing. And I can get 3 residential places for as much as I make on sometimes on a commercial property. So,
okay,
yeah,
that sounds good. So, actually, I just thought of another thing I wanted to ask you about. Looking at your website, and it was the Friends of Heroes.
Yes.
So maybe tell us a bit about that and why you got involved with it, and maybe let some other guys know who might be interested about getting into that across the country.
So what happened was we're looking for a house, and I'm a disabled vet, and the thing is Homes for Heroes, and it's all heroes, not just vets, but like cops, paramedics, teachers, heroes of the community, basically. And this was in their infancy in 2009. So I call up the people and I'm like, I'm in. What do we have to do? I'm in. And I just started working with my dad again. And so they're just getting off the ground. If you go to my website, you can see the video, and they were just getting off. So we give all vets, veterans or anybody of heroes a discount. And a lot of times, we give the best price we can. Yep. But if someone's like, hey, I've got one client, he's a 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines vet, and I'm a 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines vet. So, we're already brothers because we're both Marines, but now we're even closer brothers because we're both infantry Marines, and our battalions are, sister battalions. So I'll give them an even better discount. And if you can tell me, if you can tell me why you deserve a discount, I'll give you a discount. It's easy as that. It might be $1 or $2, but everybody likes saving money. But the Friends of Heroes is, so when someone buys a house, you'll get you can pay different levels, but, you'll get something where it says, hey, Village Lawn Service, is in your area, and they offer discounts to Homes for Heroes people. And the Homes for Heroes has just been exploding. And I've been talking with Ruth Johnson, the CEO of the company, and she's like, yeah, we're in, I think, all 50 states now, and maybe even Canada, because, there was 2 wars going on. There's a lot of heroes that need help with different things. So we just, helped them out from birth, and, we're just kind of loyal with them. So.
Oh, that's awesome. So if somebody particularly there in the United States, and like 74% of the audience that listens to this podcast is from the United States. So if there's some other lawn care guy that wants to get involved and give back to the community and stuff, how would they go about doing that with that Friends of Heroes?
I think you go to friendsofheroes.com or homesforheroes.com, and then on there you can see the Friends of Heroes, and tell Ruth Dan from Village Lawn, and maybe she'll give you a sweet discount on something. But this way you can help kind of, it's great marketing, because it's like, hey, I'm helping other people, and other people are like, oh, hey, you donate to this charity, I like that, so I'm in too. So they're a nonprofit organization that has been growing and helping hundreds of veterans and other heroes in the community afford houses and get services and stuff like that.
Oh, great. So I want to shift gears there a little bit and just talk briefly about your social media stuff. So you're on Snapchat and Instagram. You do have a YouTube channel.
Yep.
So what originally got you into doing that online? Now, you say one of the other questions I have for you is how does your family handle that? And you've sort of hinted to that. So what first got you into doing social media while you were working?
See, I like goofing off. I like goofing off. Like, one of my favorite quotes of all time is from Van Wilder, the movie, the Van Wilder, and it's, never take life too serious. You'll never get out alive. Mm-hmm. And I don't take life too serious. I've almost been killed twice, that I know of. And one I have a video of afterwards. One is, some sort of cancer tried to kill me. But with social media like Snapchat, my Snapchat tag is tagcore, Tagcore. And there, I like just goofing around, like Friday nights, and I know like LaMarche doesn't do his family, but Friday nights we crank up our radio and we just started having a dance party. So I start snapping dance parties. I'm like, hey, get up and dance, everybody! What? We're dancing, and then we're all like dancing around. We're kind of goofing off and stuff like that. And then for Instagram, I like to show people my work, what I've done, what I'm going to do, quick, hey, this is who I am, what I do. And when we were at the Home and Garden Show, we got an award for using social media.
Okay, cool.
Getting the award sounds amazing, but if you don't get anything back from it, like I think we broke even. And if you break even in business, you lose, because you still have bills to pay, your equipment might break. That's why, I'm in for a profit, because even a $10 profit gives me $10 more that I can spend somewhere else. But I like doing it. I like if someone has a question, or I've got a question, like a retaining wall, I Snapchat Almond Landscaping. Yeah. I was like, hey, bro, this is what's going on. What do you think? I'm not 100% satisfied. If you needed a 1-foot wall done, I could do a 1-foot wall. If you need a 3-foot wall, I could do it, but I'm not, 100% certain I could do it at that rate. So I sent him a message. I'm like, hey, bro, what do you think of this? And he's like, well, this is what I could do. And then I call up another buddy, and I'm like, hey, do you want to take care of this? And he's like, yeah, sure, I can, I'll take care of it, because I've got a buddy that does all hardscapes. Mm-hmm. And, I'm like, hey, I would like to, bring in someone to start doing hardscapes for the company, but that's another whole nother beast. But, I like social media. I like to be able to like quickly respond to people. Like when someone sends me something from Yelp, I'm right on there and like, hey, this is what I am, blah, 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 send it back. Or, Snapchat, it's like, today's Freedom Friday. I've already reposted a bunch of flags that people have sent me. I like, for Snapchat, I do a red light challenge. You're sitting at a red light. Who likes red challenges? Raise your hand. See, nobody raises their hand for red lights. But me, my hand is in the air, and I'll take a picture. And then people send me their red lights, and I repost them. So, like Newport Beach, because I've got buddies that live out in California. Was it Indiana? I've got all over. So people are sending me their red lights, and I'm like, yeah, this is awesome, because nobody likes sitting at a red light. But me. I like sitting at a red light because I quickly take a snap, because you shouldn't do social media and drive. I mean, everybody does it, but you shouldn't do it. And I'm guilty too, and I've kind of cut myself back from doing it where I won't, I try not to do it because, one, I don't want to wreck my truck. I just got this truck. Two, I don't want to wreck anybody else's. I don't want to have three, I don't want to kill somebody, and I don't want anybody to kill me because I need to, I've got kids. I can die when I'm like 98, 99, like like when when aliens attack, I want to die doing something amazing, not something stupid like Snapchatting and driving, I don't want to die doing stupid things. I want to die something amazing, like when I'm 95 and I've got two M16s or a rocket launcher shooting at an alien as the whole planet's getting destroyed.
All in slow motion.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Something amazing like that, or die of old age. Not die because I am driving and texting or whatever,
Yeah. With and I'll add, with fireworks in the background and the American flag flying in the
and freedom
with your freedom shades on.
Oh, I love it. I'm picturing me in my front yard right now doing that, and I've got my flagpole, and the flags are flying, and I'm shooting my guns, douche, douche, douche. But in my mind, they're like, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, hey, Spielberg, call us.
Yeah, call us.
We got it all set.
Yeah, we do.
So winding down here, what is, share your best piece of advice with somebody starting out in business. So I always ask this question as well. And this is something that I want you to put yourself in the shoes of. Somebody's coming up to you. There's somebody that somebody that maybe it's a family friend or the son of a family friend or something like that. And they're coming to you for advice, and you honestly want the best for this person. What would you tell them?
One, make sure you have insurance. I started working with a guy last year, and he didn't have insurance, so I cut all ties with him.
Okay.
Two, if you're in my area, I will give you some of my leads. I don't service parts of the city. If you service X part and I service Y part, I will send you those leads. Three, call me up. Ask me. Like, if you're in the great state of Minnesota, call me up. I know I was listening to one of your podcasts, and you said you normally don't answer calls from, out of state, out of town, whatever. Yeah. I answer it like, good morning, Florida. How are you? It is cold and crappy here. And they're like, hello? Because I know a lot of times it's solicitors, but sometimes they're like, hello? I was like, oh, you're a real person. What's going on? And they're like, oh, hey. But, I will help anybody out. If you need help, question for anything. So if it's someone I know, I'll be like, just do it. You don't need a brand new diesel truck. You don't need, a 52 grandstand with all the bells and whistles. You don't need that. You need a blower. You need a weed whip. And you need a 21-inch mower.
Yep.
And you make the money on that, then you go in to buy yourself a 36-inch. And then you go and you buy yourself a 52-inch. And then you go and you buy, then you upgrade your truck. I mean, but one advice, never, ever, 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 ever buy a used plow truck. Ever.
Okay.
Unless the guy plowing was like, or girl, just plowed their one place and that's it. Because a lot of times people just beat the crap out of plow trucks, and then you're going to be spending a lot more money on your fixing your plow truck. I will tell them, hey, I will sub you out. You can work for me. I'll give you 10 places. You do it, and I will pay you X.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of work coming in where I say no to a lot.
Yeah.
But if you want to do this, if you want to start a lawn service, just do it.
Yes.
Go out, just start hustling. You get one place this year, 2 places next year, 15, go on Craigslist. We bought up some companies. I love buying failing companies. I love it. Like, we bought a failing company a few years ago. We got it for a steal because the economy was going down. The guy couldn't afford everything. And I was like, hey, I'll come in. I bought it. Got a steal of a deal. That is fun.
Yeah, that is fun.
It is fun. But, I will help someone out,
Yeah,
if you ever called me up or like, hey, I've got a question about this, if I can't answer it, I will find out and then let you know. So if you're going to start, let's say Johnny comes up to me and's like, I want to start. I'll be like, good for you. Let's do this. What's the company name? Do you have insurance? Please get insurance first, because you break a window, like LaMarche just broke a window a few weeks ago. His insurance paid for it. It's better than you paying the $5,000, to fix that window. The insurance, you pay the $500 or whatever it is, and the window will get fixed. So I won't. If you said you don't have insurance, I won't even talk to you. I'll be like, I'll talk to you, but I'm not referring you to anyone, because I refer someone to you and you let me down, I will cut all ties. You'll be like a plague. There was one guy that I got a client, and then he kind of took it back, and I'm like, bro, he doesn't know this yet, but I'm like, bro, we're done. We are done. There is no more me, you. Don't call me for anything. Don't ask me for anything. And so, when he calls, I ignore it. I'm like, you stab me in the back, and, I'll get angry. So,
Oh, that's some great advice. Particularly the mower part and not getting into crazy debt. I just finished a self imposed 3-piece equipment challenge where I
heard about that.
So I had all my equipment stolen, and then I thought, you know what, the insurance company cut me this big check for all the stuff that was stolen, but people keep telling me that these thieves will probably be back because I've got all this brand new stuff now. So instead of buying it all at once, let me just get the 3 main pieces and actually do a challenge where I put myself in the shoes of somebody starting out again, because you forget how it is to start. And it's like, if I'm talking about how to start a lawn care business, what better way to relate with somebody just starting out with doing it with the bare minimum. So I did that for a year and a half, just a 21-inch commercial Honda mower, my still trimmer, and a handheld blower. And that's how I ran my business for the last year and a half, until Echo invited me to become a UAG member, and
which is awesome. Woo!
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah,
I don't use any Echo products. I use all Steel, but still getting to use some of the products is awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool, right? So I was like, well, I guess this kind of ends the challenge for me, because I want to use the stuff they sent me. So I think I did it long enough, a year and a half, to sort of prove that you can run a business with just these 3 pieces, and you don't need to put yourself into debt to get started, right?
And you might, depending on the size, so some of the suburbs here in Minnesota, a 21-inch mower would take you literally forever. So maybe a 48-inch, but
and I always say that
you don't need to go out and buy that $65,000 truck, the enclosed trailer, the $30,000 mowers, the this, that. You can. All you need really is a car and a small mower and a blower, and then maybe a whip, and then an edger, and then kind of work up that way, like we've been saying.
Yeah. No, great advice. When you're hungry, you're hungry. Let me tell you, when I started out, and actually a little bit of a funny story. I went up to this house, had a quote, got there. All I had was a 21-inch mower, and it was literally an acre of lawn to cut.
Yes.
And I had a 21-inch mower. And I was like, this is going to take a long
challenge accepted.
This is take a long time, but I'm going to do it. But the funny part of the story was that I knocked on the door, and this old man came out. And by old, I mean he must have been 90 or something.
Yes.
And it looked like I had woken him up, because he came to open the door, and he was holding his pants up. They weren't zipped up, and the belt wasn't done. He was holding it with one hand. And I took him by surprise, obviously. He wasn't expecting me, even though he called me. Or no, it was his wife that called. And he looked at me, and his eyes rolled to the back of his head, and he fell backwards onto the ground. Oh, and I was like, holy crap. Right? So I'm like going into this guy's house and trying to help him up and trying to wake him up and stuff. And he like came to, I'm like, you want me to call an ambulance? And no, I'm fine. And I was like, and I called his wife on the phone. She's like, oh, I'll come right back and stuff. Right. They're like, I don't know what happened. He passed out or something.
You might have been.
I must have been like so good looking or something that he was just. But anyways, long story short, I ended up doing the lawn. An acre of mowing with a 21-inch mower took me 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I'm going to do it because I'm building my business and I'm not turning money down and doing it. And what else am I going to do? I don't have enough clients at the time. I'll be sitting at home anyway. So might as well get out here and mow.
That's true.
So it can't, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yes.
So I think that's a great way to end the episode. The last question is just how can people follow you and find you online if they want to?
So the website is villagelawnservice.com or .biz.
Okay.
There's another Village Lawn Service in Michigan, which I get calls for them all the time, which is really funny. They kind of changed their name, but that's all right. Everything online is at Village Lawn.
Okay.
And then my Snapchat is tagcore, Tagcore. And tagcore means the Albrecht Group or the Albrecht Corporation. TAG, the Albrecht Group Corporation. So
okay, perfect. And I'll put links to that stuff.
Sweet. And
in
then
the podcast description.
I hope if you're done listening to this, I want to hear a good old woo or what, and then follow me. I'll follow you back. You know, we'll exchange pictures, and if you want any organic fertilizer, send me a message. I will ship it out to you, no cost to you. You know, you try it out, and it's a good way to expand your business. And a lot of states, you don't need a license to put down organic fertilizer. So
awesome, great points. So thanks a lot for coming on the show. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, Lawn Care Nation. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that crazy interview with Dan. You can see what I meant from the top of the show about him exuding life and how I gave that example of him being this sort of beach ball of sunshine, and if your task was to sort of contain that light, it would be absolutely impossible to sort of contain his enthusiasm and his exuberance for life. A very infectious guy. Like I said, hopefully you guys will all go and follow him. And on a daily basis, when I see the guy, I can't help but, not have a smile on my face, especially when he's just hanging out or giving you a tip or doing something crazy with his freedom shades on. And, he's like, say what? And doing all his crazy stuff. It's just, you can't help but be in a good mood watching his content. So I'll put all the links to his social media stuff in the show notes so you guys can easily get to that. And like I say, I would strongly recommend you guys just for a daily pick-me-up. If you need to just watch his content, it's fantastic and always puts you in a good mood. So I think that's it for this week. Here's to wishing you guys all overwhelming success and freedom in your lawn care business. Bye for now.